Am I the asshole because I baked my own birthday cake after my wife bought one? For my 32 male birthday, I always like one specific kind of cake, a chocolate-covered cherry cake. My mom or dad always made it for me since it wasn't one of the available flavors at any bakeries or stores near where we grew up. When I moved away, I started to make it myself. I've been married to my wife just under a year, but we've been together for 6 years, so she knows all about this cake. During that time, we've either baked it together, my parents made it, or I've made it on my own. I've never asked or expected her to do it. Before my birthday this year, my wife asked me what kind of cake I wanted. That seems like a silly question that she already knows the answer to. Same kind as always, but she told me she didn't feel like baking. I told her she didn't need to worry about baking it because I can just do it myself. She asked me a second time and I gave her the same answer. The day before my birthday, I get home from work and have all the ingredients to make my cake. I go to get something out of the fridge and there's a pair of cheesecakes in there with "Happy Birthday" written between them both. I asked my wife about it, and she said those were the cakes for my party the next day, and she thought of switching things up this year because everyone loves cheesecake. I don't hate it, but she gets cheesecakes at least once a month. Who gets cheesecakes once a month? Holy cow. Those will go straight to your thighs. I only ever have the cherry cake on my birthday. I told her I appreciate it and they look good, but I really want the cake I like, so I was going to make it and we'll just let everyone have a choice of what cake they want. She got pissed off and yelled that I ruined her attempt to make things easier on us by not having to bake and bringing cake that everyone would love. It's been 2 days since the party and she was cold at the party and is still acting cold. Usually, I move mountains and heaven to give her the things she wants on her birthdays and celebrate how she wants. I just wanted one specific cake for mine. Am I the asshole? Dude. No, OP is definitely not the asshole. Dude had only one request, the kind of cake that he likes, on his own freaking birthday, and didn't even ask her to make it. He was willing to make the freaking cake himself. That's the cake he wanted. Why is she forcing him to do something different? She didn't have any reason to do this. I understand her position was probably she feels obligated to at least help bake because it's his freaking birthday cake. He shouldn't have to bake his own birthday cake. You're right. He shouldn't have to bake his own birthday cake. But the answer was not getting a store-bought cheesecake, which is not the cake that he wanted, and just being like, there, I've done my part. Even though he's had the same cake for 32 years and has requested that same cake multiple times, I will just get these cheesecakes and consider that box checked. That was a really shitty thing to do, wife. Dude just wanted a cake. He just wanted the cake that he likes. There's no other way to look at this. It was a shitty thing to do. Even if her schedule was so crazily busy and demanding that there was no way that she could provide the cake that he really wanted. Even if all of that, she still didn't have to bake it. He offered to bake it himself. He was planning on baking it himself. She just screwed these other 2 cheesecakes right into the deal and tried to make OP to be the asshole on his own freaking birthday for it. Wow. And got pissed at him and said that he ruined her attempt to make things easier on them by not having to bake. You know what this birthday party needs? It needs some confetti. Red confetti. I'm just going to say, homeboy, OP, if you move mountains and heaven to give her what she wants on her birthday and help her celebrate the way that she wants, and she does not reciprocate, your relationship is out of balance here, dude. And it's probably got a lot more to do than just the cake. You might start examining where else this relationship is out of balance and start working on that. Absolutely not the asshole. Let him eat his cake that he baked for himself on his birthday. So sad. I feel so sorry for this guy. Like, shit.
Get that man a cake. The right cake, please.
Am I the asshole for pretending to get fired when customers get a temper with me? I'm a high schooler with a weekend job at a coffee shop. My coworkers who work weekends are James, the owner's son. He goes to my school. He's a shift manager, but it's not a real formal thing. He's a friendly guy. Danielle, a college student who sometimes works weekends too. Oh, that's it. It's a pretty short list. That was kind of anticlimactic, sorry. So sometimes customers will come in and just be angry about such little stuff. Like literally blow up about nothing. Wait, literally blow up? I don't know if they're in a bad mood already and looking for someone to take it out on or what, but it's a lot. Like, how sad do you have to be a grown-ass man taking your anger out on high school and college kids? So James and I were joking about having a little fun with them and hopefully getting them off our backs. So one day I was at work and some guy was having a temper about how we don't make the coffee hot enough, which I couldn't do a thing about because I gave it to him right out of the machine. So James came in and was like, "Sir, is there a problem here?" And the guy started ranting at him too. So he was just like, "OP, this is unacceptable. You're fired." I started acting real sad, like, "No, please don't fire me. My family needs the money. I need this job, please." And he played up being a hard ass, telling me to take off my apron and leave. The angry guy started to backtrack, like, It isn't that big of a problem. You don't need to fire her over it. I didn't mean it." And James was like, "No, we pride ourselves on the best customer service." Of course, after all that drama, I still had my job. We were just acting. And we've done it a couple of times. Whenever a customer will lose their temper at Danielle or I, James will storm in and fire us. And almost every time, the person who had come in angry will apologize and say that they didn't mean it. It's kind of satisfying, making people realize their actions might actually have consequences. Anyway, I was telling my friends from school about this, and a few of them thought it was a mean prank to let someone go away thinking they've gotten someone who desperately needs the money fired. Am I the asshole for this joke? I'd say yes and no. Yes, OP is the asshole because she's lying, along with her coworkers. They're lying to people and leading them to believe something that isn't true. That is an asshole thing to do. And letting someone go away thinking they'd got someone fired, even if they were a dick, still not cool. Fighting fire with fire, or in this case, fighting dickheadedness with dickheadedness, while maybe worthy and a good cause insofar as teaching them a lesson, still means that you're being a dickhead. You sink to their level whenever you do this kind of thing. So if they're assholes, then guess what? You're the asshole too. The kicker on this is that many of the customers end up backtracking out of being the asshole, but OP stays there. If OP came back and was like, "Oh, it's okay, we were joking, it's an act," then they could backtrack out of being an asshole like the customers did. The customers were like, "I didn't mean it." OP never says, "I didn't mean it." They just stuck with the lie. And I get it. It's funny. It'd be a funny thing to do to like make a couple videos over, but to keep it up, I'm guessing that because it's a coffee shop, there are probably regulars. And one of those regulars is going to see this happen and see that the person really hadn't gotten fired. Or even worse, one of the people that they do this to is going to come back because it's a freaking coffee shop and people return to coffee shops quite often. And they're going to be like, "Oh, you didn't get fired." And then what are you going to say? "Yeah, it was just a joke." You're the asshole now. Or you're going to lie again? You're the asshole now. There's not really a way to come out of this not being the asshole. It's a funny prank, and it has the added bonus of teaching someone a lesson, but you're having to be an asshole to do it. Reddit actually voted not the a-hole here. I'm voting yes, you're the asshole. Let us refer to our brand new AskCon levels. The levels of assholery. As a reminder, AskCon 1 is there's no way that you should have done that, you're a terrible human being. AskCon 2 is definitely shouldn't have done that, but it doesn't make you a terrible person. AskCon 3 is you probably should have approached that differently. And AskCon 4 is you probably could have approached that differently. Maybe you're an asshole, maybe you're not. And I think this qualifies for AskCon 4. They're not a terrible person for doing it. They could have approached this differently. And maybe they are, maybe they aren't. They're still on the AskCon scale, so it makes them at least a little bit of an asshole. AskCon 4. Let's just say it could have been worse. Am I the asshole for switching to regular milk to prove my lactose intolerant roommate keeps stealing from me? Me and two other guys share an apartment together and we split all the bills. The only thing we don't split costs on is groceries. Everyone's in charge of buying their own food and we don't touch whatever doesn't belong to us in the fridge. We put our names on everything so no one gets mixed up. The issue has been going on almost a year and I'm sick of it. One of my roommates, R, keeps stealing my food. I get home from work and containers with my leftovers are sometimes missing. They have my name written on them. Or my stuff finishes too quick. My gallon of milk, for example. I buy almond milk because I like the taste. But it seems to finish after a week even though I've only drank once or twice. I confronted R about this lots of times and that's caused a lot of arguments. He outright denies it and tells me I'm crazy, even though it's so obvious. My other roommate and I carpool together because we both work the same early morning shifts around the same area, so I know it's not him. It's always after we get back home and R's already left for work that I notice my food's gone. My roommates also had similar problems, but not as often as I do. I'm guessing because R doesn't like what he buys. The funny thing is, R buys a lot for himself and is even more stingy about his food. He will literally point out what's his when he comes back from grocery shopping and tell us not to touch it. Last week, my milk was nearly empty again and I got fed up. I went to the liquor store and bought regular dairy milk. I drank what was left of my almond milk and refilled the gallon with the one I had bought. This was to catch/prove R is the one stealing, since he's lactose intolerant. The next day, Saturday, we got back from work and R is pissed. He yelled at me that he was stuck in the bathroom for 40 minutes with diarrhea because of my milk. He was using it to make a shake. I only responded with, "So then you're the one who's been stealing?" He freaking exploded. Yeah, he did. In the bathroom. At work. Multiple times. Yeah, he admitted he was sometimes drinking my milk and eating my food, but he was more mad that I switched milks than the fact that he was caught. I told him I wouldn't have done it if he had just stopped taking my stuff from the fridge or at least told the truth instead of trying to make it seem like I was making it up. My roommate backed me up and thought it was kind of funny he got a payback for stealing from us. It's a little tense right now, and my roommate told me Aura is trying to convince him to agree to kick me out. Little does he know we're both looking to move somewhere else because we are sick of his shit. His literal lactose intolerant, regular milk fueled shit. I told some buddies what happened, and a few think I was an asshole for that. I feel like I'm not in the wrong here. He was taking my food and not even owning up to it, and I wanted to prove it. Does that make me the asshole? No, it doesn't make you the asshole because you asked several times and he denied several times so vividly that he tried to make you seem crazy for even saying it. If he hadn't have stuck to his guns / the lie for so long and so hard, maybe you'd be the asshole here. But I have a feeling if that was the case and he hadn't have just stuck to it that long, that this would have never happened. So he brought this on himself. He lied about it repeatedly, tried to make you out to be the crazy one for it repeatedly, and then he kept stealing repeatedly, and then you finally pulled this thing, and instead of just fessing up and being like, yeah, I got busted, he blames you for him having the screaming demon ring of fire at work. Boop. Dude just won like 7 asshole points in a row. Where does that put him on our ASCON scale? Let's see. ASCON 1 is no, you shouldn't have done that. You're a terrible human being. ASCON 2, definitely shouldn't have done that, but it doesn't make you a terrible person. ASCON 3, you probably should have approached that differently. ASCON 4, you probably could have approached that differently. Maybe you're an asshole, maybe you're not. OP doesn't fit anywhere in here in my book because he tried everything else. This was the last thing he could try. He had already checked all the other boxes down his list of things that weren't as stinky. But the roommate stuck to his story, and there had to be some kind of consequence for it. Pain creates change, right? He'll never steal from you again. He may be an asshole now, and he may be trying to get you kicked out, and he may just be a complete dick, but he's never going to steal from you again, is he? OP, not on the ASCON level scale at all. R, the roommate? Let's see. Where do we land here? I think because R lied so repeatedly and tried to use it against OP and make him seem crazy and still blames him even after all of this, I'm going to say ASCON 1 on OP's roommate. OP doesn't even touch the scale. OP's roommate is a shit-spraying ASCON 1. Take him out for ice cream to tell him you're sorry.